Hello, my name is Chastity McCarthy. My presentation is on Two Trees Management Company and how they strengthened after Hurricane Sandy wiped out some of their businesses. In October 2012, Hurricane Sandy, which unofficially referred to as the Superstorm Sandy, was the deadliest and most destructive hurricane of the 2012 season. It hit over 24 states and several countries. It was a Category 3, which resulted in major damage to a lot of the East Coast businesses throughout New York, Maine, Florida, down the coast. In New York City specifically, Two Trees Management Company, which is a real estate management firm, experienced a wipeout. As you'll see on the slide here, Two Trees Management Company does a lot of leasing of several properties. Not only were their office facilities wiped out, but as well as many of their leasing properties. Since its founding in 1968, Two Trees has been a Brooklyn-based business, family-owned, and is worth more than $4 billion in real estate. Two Trees currently manages and owns more than 2,000 apartments, which totals more than 3 million square feet in New York City. It was founded in 1968 by David Willentis, and who is currently the father of the CEO, Jed. In October 2012, when Hurricane Sandy hit, Two Trees Management really had to divest into their business continuity plan and learn how to rebound from this. Having a business continuity plan allowed Two Trees Management Company to maintain communications with their renters and their stakeholders, and to also set up a location where they had a continuous stream of revenue coming from those renters, so they were able to continue with their operations of taking those payments. As you'll see here, this is where the central office for Two Trees Management Company is located. It's here on the river, Hudson River, outside New York City. You can tell where that tsunami and that the hurricane would have wiped out that facility. This is what it looked like after Hurricane Sandy had hit. So moving forward in the wake of that disaster that wiped out that facility, they needed to make sure they had a business continuity plan in place so that they can continue. They made sure that they had a clearly defined team, they made sure they had a detailed plan and effective testing in place, and they made sure that they had crisis communications, employee safety, uninterrupted access to business resources, and continuous IT operations all in place through that plan to be able to continue work as this disaster was happening. So a clearly defined team means that people shouldn't have to wonder who's in charge. When that disaster took place, there was vital team members in place who knew what their actions had to be once that hurricane had hit them. They also had a detailed plan, so they knew how they were going to continue customer protection and brand concerns, how they'd continue in terms of receiving their revenues. They also had everything available for their crisis communication. So they had frequent discussions, a plan of at least a year in advance of how they would manage this and how they would continue to communicate with not only consumers but local. They had an effective team that basically panicked, that soothed over any panicking that renters may have about where they would leave, and they also had a toolkit that addressed separate emails and public addresses and intranets. Employee safety was a huge concern in their business continuity plan. So local agencies such as Red Cross, Fire Department, local police, FEMA, they all were able to provide the emergency response training that was necessary for these business members to keep running smoothly. Uninterrupted access to business resources is probably one of the main parts of a business continuity plan that was able to clearly define for Two Trees Management the remote access technologies that would be available to them once a disaster were to hit. This allowed them to have a remote location in a hotel conference room until everything had set up, until they had a second site location. Instead of having to get used to disaster mode and an entirely different way of working, these people were able to use remote access and site locations to continue as normal. Another big part of a business continuity plan is continuous IT operations. So having a data center continuity plan is important. Most large organizations, such as Two Trees Management Company, have more than one data center so that they can reduce redundancy. People should be able to switch seamlessly from retrieving data one way to another. So today, where are they? Two Trees Management is bigger and better, which just goes to show that if a business has a great business continuity plan in place, you can continue to grow after the wake of a disaster. Currently, these are the proposed development sites for Two Trees Management. They're still along the river. They're still able to build and develop, and these are some of their current locations that they're looking at. Thank you.